Pardon me, interrupt you. That's nice. Equally, guests, please be minded that these guys have got a lot to say in a very short period of time. Okay, now, in no order, if I can invite Liz up to introduce herself for 1 minute. Thank you.
Right, I'm Liz Woolard. I'm a local businesswoman. I've run a building certifying and a town planning consultancy service for the last 6 years. I've worked for local government for the previous roughly 20 years before I started my business. I volunteer at Peninsula Animal Aid and I'm involved in a few different business networks. And I'm passionate about Redcliffe. I decided to run for the election because I want local people to have a say in Redcliffe matters and how Queenslanders' money is being spent. It's about what I can give Redcliffe.
Thank you, Liz.
Not what.
A minute goes very quickly. Thank you. Next up on my list is John. Thank you, Liz.
Hi, how are you? It's really warms my heart to see so many Green supporters all in one place. Thank you very much. I'm representing the Greens again, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, John. Sorry, maybe next one.
Well, thank you very much. As you all know, I've had the absolute pleasure over the last 6 years to represent this area locally as a federal member. With that brings experience, and what this community knows that with me, they will get someone who's an extremely hard worker, someone who's passionate about this community, and someone who will speak up for this community. We've lost many jobs and we've lost many services, and I want to see those come back to our area. I want to see investment in jobs, education, training and investment. That's how we'll grow our community and how we'll grow our local economy.
Thank you, Vic.
Good evening, my dear friends. I am number 7 in the family. My husband is a number 7 as well, so double trouble. Can I tell you that the greatest learning that I ever encountered in my life is the learning that I received from the most difficult clients that I served in all my years at the Neighborhood Centre. I thank each and every one of them for giving me such a gift. Can I also tell you that my advocate is my greatest strength? And guess what? I do have a royal blood. Welcome, Redcliffe.
Thank you. Len.
Following telescope.
Hi, I'm Len. My CV would take more than a minute. I worked in a bank for 12 years. I was an accountant. I bought a small business. I ran a small business in Redcliffe. It was a good run. I worked in corporate finance, selling for AGC in the Yankees, which is near Dublin. I became a police officer. I worked in PCYCs, managing PCYCs, working with the community. I retired 4 years ago. I work with volunteer organisations. Scotty Driscoll did one good thing for this town. He unleashed me, because until Scotty Driscoll destroyed the name of the team that I was working at, I didn't take any interest in politics. I didn't. But when he did that, I chased him to the Supreme Court, and I keep chasing, and people say, oh, you've got to keep going. And when I found out the state of this country, the state of things that are happening, and the failure of political parties to do something about it, I said, oh, I don't need to be retired. I'm only 64.
Thank you, Len. Carry on.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute pleasure to be here tonight. As you know, I'm the LNP endorsed candidate, which I feel very humbled by that responsibility. But there's no friendlier government than the LNP government towards small business. So can I congratulate the Redcliffe City Chamber of Commerce for having this forum here tonight. We've actually delivered over $15 million worth of services in the last few weeks. We had the Treasurer, Tim Nichols, out yesterday at Redcliffe Hospital announcing $10 million towards Ward, the Ward 4E and 5E where I actually worked. My first job as an RN was at Redcliffe Hospital, so it was absolutely wonderful to see that those wards are going to be upgraded. $2 million towards theatre upgrades. We've got the GP Super Clinic open. We had the Premier down yesterday announcing $2.4 million to the Margate Parade foreshore. So the LNP government is already delivering. I will be the fresh start that Redcliffe needs, and let's not vote on the past, let's vote for Redcliffe's future. The only way we're going to get things done in Redcliffe is to vote in government. Thank you.
Thank you. My name's Gabe Buckley. I've been an IT consultant for the last 20 years, advising small to medium businesses across pretty much every industry sector on how best to deal with the various and ever-changing compliance battle. And as most of you would know, dealing with compliance matters is probably the single biggest headache for small business in today's climate. And I was reading an article last month where the author said the best thing any government could do for small business is to get out of the way. Yeah. And that's what I would intend to do, to cut the compliance burden for small business, to get the government out of our way so that we can grow our businesses, compete more effectively, pump more money into the economy, to fill up all these empty shops so that we're no longer draining money out of our economy to the foreign-owned chain stores in Chermside and North Lakes, and to enable our local businesses to provide more jobs, traineeships and apprenticeships to our young people out there.
Thank you very much. Okay, I'll ask John to stay at the lectern, and Peter, if you could escort everyone else out. Thank you. If you leave one of those. Okay, now as we say goodbye temporarily to the other candidates, during the questions, we'll endeavour to put the questions being asked up on the board. I'm going to give you a copy of the questions in a second, John. So work your way through them. We'll sound about every minute. So the more questions you answer, the more we understand what you're thinking. Okay, so if I could just ask to maintain quiet. Peter, are you ready? Thank you, Peter. Okay, the first question. What is your view of the current state of business on the Redcliffe Peninsula, and what is your vision and plan for the future? You have now.
I think every business in Australia is going to suffer as we move further into this globalisation idea that Australian businesses can compete on a globalised scale. I think it's a threat to small business because you're trying to compete with globalised companies that have outsourced their labour, outsourced their materials, and not under any restrictions that you're expected to compete with them.
Okay. Question number 2. What do you understand by the term investment attraction, and how will you use this approach to contribute to the development of Redcliffe?
Are you trying to get money to attract businesses to Redcliffe? Is that what you mean? I don't know. Investment attraction, I've got no idea.
Move on.
Yeah, move on.
Okay, we are represented here tonight by many community organisations, so thank you all for coming. As such, how will you ensure that business will interact and support these appropriately?
I think we need to work together. I think the private sector needs to work with the community sector. for the benefit of everyone that lives here, and not just the majority. Next question.
Okay. Now, more locally, within the Moreton Bay Regional Council, there is a new initiative called The Hive. What is your understanding of this, and how do you see it benefiting local business community?
I don't know anything about it, to be honest.
Okay. Okay. This is why we write these down for you.
Yeah.
Government plays a vital role in building and sustaining the economy and has a core responsibility in creating an environment which is conducive to economic growth. What should the government do to improve the competitiveness of Queensland's business operating environment?
Well, at the moment they're selling all of Queensland. That's what I think is happening, and I don't think that's the right thing to do. I don't think that we're going to have much of a business or much of an economy left if there's no assets and there's no services.
Okay. Well, that's the 5 questions. I'll delve into this bucket and we'll pull some out. Okay. Dawn, do you want to come and just tell me what this one says?
I can do that. Oh, it's not business related. What do you think of the current state's suppression of freedom of speech and assembly?
I think it's disgusting. I think it sets a dangerous precedent, and it's an erosion of democracy.
Okay. Do all the candidates support the implementation of the Hayes Inlet Management Plan to provide greater protection for Moreton Bay?
Yeah, I support that. I think looking after the health of the inlet is an opportunity for Redcliffe for jobs, and if you're a fisherman, the health of the bay should be very important to you. I think they got an F in water quality downriver from Hayes Inlet.
Okay, thank you. Now this one we think says, do you think it was a sensible decision to dump 1 million tonnes of silt in the Barrier Reef just so conglomerates can make more money? Just for business, but you haven't got money.
Well, I think it is business related because we're going to kill the Great Barrier Reef, which has been a staple of the Australian economy for generations, and we're doing it for a primarily foreign-owned mining industry. So I think it's a stupid idea.
Don, I'm afraid you're going to have to contact me again.
Okay. Oh yes. Oh yes. Given we got stitched up by Driscoll about the amalgamation, what will you do about the amalgamation process and getting that happening?
So the question is, after the de-amalgamation, what is your position on whether it should be reinstated or left alone?
I think they spent bucket loads of money amalgamating, and I've been concerned that they'd spend bucket loads more de-amalgamating, and you'd have to look at the cost-benefit ratio.
Okay. Thank you, John.